Breaking news tonight at 10 as two people are shot by federal agents, this time in Portland, Oregon. The latest information as police investigate. And continuing coverage on the Sun Prairie School District investigation. We hear from a parent about trust in that district now. Finally, making more housing affordable, the new report shining a light on how the city of Madison performed in 2025. That's all coming up on News 3 now at 10. Good evening and thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Sarah Carlson. Eric Franke is off tonight. We begin the night with breaking news. Authorities say federal immigration officers shot and wounded two people in Portland, Oregon. The shooting comes one day after an ICE officer shot and killed a driver in Minnesota. CBS News correspondent Gwen Baumgartner reports.
Authorities say federal agents shot and wounded two people in Portland, Oregon on Thursday. When the shooting happened, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security says U.S. Border Patrol agents were conducting a targeted vehicle stop involving suspected Venezuelan members of the Tren de Aragua gang. In a posting on X, the agency says when agents identified themselves, the driver attempted to run over the officers. It said an agent fired a defensive shot as the driver and passenger tried to flee the scene.
Our priority and main concern is that there is a thorough and complete investigation, that all facts that can be learned are obtained, and that we can get as much information as possible.
This is a federal investigation. It's being led by the FBI. We have been in touch with them. We are in regular contact.
Portland Mayor Keith Wilson held a press conference Thursday evening.
Just one day after the horrific violence in Minnesota, our community here in Portland was witness to a moment of fear, confusion, and heartbreak. Earlier this afternoon, two people were shot and injured by federal agents in the Hazelwood neighborhood. Violence in our community is devastating. These are not statistics. These are human beings.
A Portland City Council session abruptly recessed after members were informed of the shooting. Gwen Baumgartner, CBS News.
Now, President Trump said last week that he was pulling National Guard troops out of Portland as well as Chicago and Los Angeles. This after a federal court ruled against the administration's action. But he did say that they will come back if crime begins to soar again. And now to the forecast, some heavy rain tonight. Alex, when will we be drying out?
We're tracking the end of the rain, but not for all of southern Wisconsin just quite yet. Rain is still coming down quite heavy north and west of Madison, out towards the Hillsborough, Douglas area, just north and west of the Dells, out towards Viroqua, over towards Boscobel. Even a couple of stronger showers or heavier showers just south and west of the Fenimore area, near the Lancaster area. We have had a couple of bolts of lightning that occasionally show up on radar 3000. So some of these showers out there are turning into just a couple of isolated thunderstorms. And when we take a peek at the rest of southern Wisconsin here, most of that rain is eyeing up areas west of Madison, moving off towards the north and towards the east. And the temperatures also really help to tell the story here. Look at the dividing line between Lone Rock and Boscobel, a 7-degree difference just down the road. And this is the colder air that's going to sweep into southern Wisconsin as we put future track into motion. When will it all end? The showers and a couple isolated thunderstorms end by midnight or so. Then in comes some wet snow on the backside as we head towards that 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. time frame. Not expecting significant accumulation of snow, just perhaps some wet, slushy snow on area surfaces. Perhaps hit a half-inch of water, maybe 3/4 of an inch north and west of Madison, lesser amounts south and east of Madison. And then we turn our attention to, well, tomorrow will actually not necessarily be the worst day because conditions will clear out, the sun will come out, and latest on our weather system for Saturday, been telling this to you for a few days now, that weather system continues to weaken. I'll explain more how weak this weather system is and how it will impact Saturday across southern Wisconsin and the entire state. That's coming up.
All right, Alex, thank you. Two people are seriously hurt after a crash on U.S. Highway 51 in Stoughton. According to the Dane County Sheriff's Office, witnesses reported a pickup truck lost control, crossed the center line, and hit another vehicle head-on. Both drivers were pinned inside their vehicles and seriously injured. UW Medflight took the driver of the pickup to UW Hospital, while Lakeside EMS took the other driver to St. Mary's Hospital. And a woman charged after the shooting death of a 14-year-old Evansville girl last April pleaded guilty. Alyssa Ahrens pleaded guilty to one count of child sexual exploitation and one of manufacturing or delivering amphetamine. Ahrens is one of 2 people who were charged, the other being Hunter Dreyfel. He pleaded guilty earlier this week to second-degree child sexual assault and child sexual exploitation. Other charges against the pair were dismissed, and both of them will be sentenced on April the 2nd. Now to continuing coverage of the sexual misconduct charges at Sun Prairie West High School. This stems from the arrest of a former dean of students last July. Robert Gilkey Messigier is facing a federal indictment and 15 felony charges. The backlash causing Sun Prairie West to start its own investigation as well. Our Tanisha Shaw is covering what's next for the school.
Rob Gilkey was not just a bad apple. His action were symptoms of a systemic disease.
Christy Yang's teen attends Sun Prairie East, but she says Sun Prairie students do not trust the district as a whole.
I would say that as long as the administration is still here, they don't feel safe.
Sun Prairie Area School District released this 23-page independent investigation Tuesday after the arrest of the former dean of students, Robert Gilkey Messigier, who is facing 15 child sex crime charges that took place at Sun Prairie West.
So that's one thing that the school board is going to have to really focus on, is to rebuild the trust and heal the harm that has been done to this community for a long time.
Yang says that she isn't satisfied with the report and there is more to be done.
It still gravely concerns me and a lot of parents, just because we're not sure what kind of policies are going to be implemented.
A phrase that was mentioned more than 26 times in the report was Title IX. What was your reaction to reading that?
It was disgusting, right, to me. I think anytime you hear of children being sexually harmed, it doesn't matter whose child it is. It's heartbreaking.
Title IX prohibits, quote, sex-based discrimination in education programs and activities that receive federal financial assistance. According to the Department of Education, that includes sex-based harassment and sexual violence.
It was just a proof that there is a very dysfunctional organization and culture or behavior that enable this, not only for him to do what he did, but for as long as he...
The attorney that conducted this investigation said there are, quote, several critical issues inside of the investigation. And I reached out to all school board members and the superintendent, but they told me that they are not doing any interviews. Reporting in the newsroom, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Tanisha, thank you. The attorney also said there should be a Title IX review of the entire district. Well, state health officials are saying they will not be following the federal government's new childhood vaccine recommendations. Instead, the Wisconsin Department of Health Services will continue to recommend the vaccine schedule published by the American Academy of Pediatrics. They've also issued guidance to Wisconsin healthcare providers affirming the recommendations. And on Monday, the CDC updated its childhood immunization schedule, recommending fewer vaccinations.
But the fact that there are different recommendations is confusing to people, and it's going to result probably in more vaccine hesitancy, because people are going to see that disconnect and say, well, what's going on? Has the science changed? What am I not understanding? So that's the real risk, and that is why I think it's important for the other states, for the professional organizations, to be speaking with one voice now.
This is the second time in 2 months that the Wisconsin Department of Health Services has split from the CDC. Last month, the state said it would continue to recommend hepatitis B vaccinations at birth, while the CDC dropped that recommendation. In Milwaukee, the county zoo is closing its aviary to the public to protect the animals from bird flu. Earlier this week, a wild Canada goose was found dead in the zoo's parking lot and tested positive for the disease. Out of an abundance of caution, the aviary is closed for the foreseeable future. While it's great to get the kids outside for winter fun and exercise, UW Health doctors are urging some caution. Every winter, the American Family Children's Hospital treats kids who were injured from winter sports. Some of the most common injuries include frostbite, head injuries, and broken bones. Doctors say many of those can be prevented with proper gear, and also parents coaching kids about potential dangers.
Making sure that your child is dressed appropriately and covered for the cold, and planning in breaks appropriately as well to make sure they're staying warm. To prevent injuries such as the head injuries, broken bones, cuts, concussions, a lot of it is talking with your kid about how to keep themselves safe, wearing appropriate protective gear.
Doctors add that it can be tough to tell if children are affected by cold because they don't shiver as much as adults do. So one way to identify early cold exposure is to look for areas that are getting a bright red or white even, and also ask the child if they're experiencing numbness or any tingling in their hands and feet. In Madison, they're sharing the latest update for housing development in 2025. Last year, the city was able to complete a net 2,328 houses, with more than 5,000 still under construction. Although the numbers are short from the year before, the city says it is in line with what they were expecting.
The early signs are definitely encouraging, and I think are a sign that a lot of the housing initiatives that the Common Council put into place in the last year are starting to pay off.
Some of the changes introduced last year to assist in increased housing and decreased pricing was the approval of cottage courts, along with the change of lot sizes and types of housing. Coming up next at 10, Alex has the very latest on if we will stay dry over the weekend, and blocking military action in Venezuela, the recent vote undertaken by the Senate, and how the president is reacting when we come back.
The A's are 52 and A's are 47.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Welcome back. Protests and outrage continue in Minneapolis tonight after a woman was shot and killed by an ICE officer yesterday. The Department of Homeland Security is accusing the woman, Renee Nicole Good, of attacking ICE officers with her car. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz referred to the events as a brazen use of force and says the Trump administration has excluded the state from the investigation. President Trump's capture of Nicolas Maduro has some in Congress questioning how far the president can go without their approval. Today, the U.S. Senate advanced a measure that would block President Trump from taking further military action in Venezuela. 5 Republicans joined Democrats in support of the bill.
This is all about going forward. If the president should determine, you know what, I need to put troops on the ground in Venezuela, I think that would require Congress to weigh in.
President Trump slammed the bill and said the Republicans who voted for it, quote, should never be elected to office again. He has promised to veto the bill if it makes it to his desk. And now to a check of the final forecast. Heavy rain in southern Wisconsin tonight. And Alex, will the skies be clear over the weekend is the big question.
Yes, next weather system is what a lot of folks are probably thinking about. We are still expecting some light snow in southern Wisconsin, breezy conditions and a few slick spots. But as we've been talking about for the past couple of days, and I've been emphasizing really quite a bit last night, this weather system is trending weaker and weaker. So let's talk about that alert day possibility. A stronger low would lead to higher snow accumulations, but right now the likely outcome is a weaker low pressure, which will lead to lesser snow accumulations in southern Wisconsin. So we're going to drop that alert day wording, as I alluded to, as I mentioned last night, would likely be the outcome with that continued trend downward with the potential for impactful snow as we go into Saturday. But still getting that rain coming down heavy right now. Camp Douglas, Mauston, right along Highway 1290 as we move to the south and to the west into the southwest part of the state. Still a heavy shower just north of Fenimore, but this is the backside of the weather system. Areas, Madison and points to the south and east may struggle to see any additional rainfall tonight as that focus has been more off towards the north and towards the west. You can see by 12 o'clock, weather systems moving through, pushing the rain to the north. Look off to the north and towards the west as we head towards the late night, early morning hours, right around 4, 5, 6 o'clock. Some wet snow moving through the Dells, Madison, over towards Juneau. That's a little bit of a different outcome than what we were showing tonight during 5 and 6, but not expecting impactful amounts of snow, maybe just a dusting of slushy wet snow on grounds that have warmed up and are also very wet right now. And then that's out of here. By the time we get to noon, we got partly sunny skies and temperatures will end up right around 40. So how about that to end the week? Water amounts yet still maybe a tenth to a quarter of an inch north and west of Madison. A little bit higher amounts up towards Juneau, Adams, Marquette, and Green Lake counties, where those few showers that I just showed you in Radar 3000 in southwest Wisconsin still have a way to hike off towards the north and towards the east yet tonight. So recapping, about an inch of rain, additional north, well north of Madison at this point, but it's the ponding of water. It's the river ice jams that still have have our attention here, even with icy conditions melting away and the water that we have, that water still has to percolate down into the watershed. And we've got a lot of rivers that are frozen and ground that is still frozen. So any water that still is falling tonight is going to run into the watershed in areas north of Madison that could promote some flooding conditions. But rain, snow, we'll take it, because we just were talking about farmers the other day, still mentioning that we need that moisture, and dry conditions exist across a lot of southern Wisconsin. So we will keep that rain in our watershed. We need that rain. Let's take our 10-day full here. There we go. By the time we get to Saturday, I have dropped the alert day heading because I think impactful winter weather is likely going to stay more towards the north and east, up towards the UP of Michigan, lower Michigan. Here in southern Wisconsin, snow showers, some gusty winds, maybe an inch of snow, but that doesn't quite meet that alert day criteria, which is good. We don't need the bad driving conditions in the area, but we'll take some snow.
Right, exactly. And it looks pretty nice, kind of mild.
Overall, the 10-day, we're not seeing bitter Arctic air, at least not anytime soon. So, yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Thank you, Alex. Well, the Packers are getting ready for their third showdown against the Chicago Bears, but head coach Matt LaFleur isn't treating this game like it's the playoffs. News 3 Now's senior Packers writer Jason Wilde explains.
This marks the 6th time in 7 years that the Packers will go to the playoffs under head coach Matt LaFleur. This time it will be against the Chicago Bears on Saturday night at Soldier Field in the NFC wildcard round. A 213th meeting between these great rivals, and the third meeting this season. The teams split their first two matchups. But for Matt LaFleur, the most important aspect of getting ready for a playoff game is not treating it like a playoff game. It's keeping things normal.
I think the more normal you can make it, the better chance you have. Just say throughout my experiences, when you got to just do your job and focus on your job. And we know this, like anytime you're playing a really good football team, whether it's in the playoffs or in the regular season, every play is so critical. So you can't have lapses, whether it's intensity, whether it's mental lapses. They just can't happen because every play is so valuable, so critical. There's no wasted plays. And then I think ultimately what it comes down to is your ability to execute. And I would say this, that in the biggest of games, your best players have to play their best.
We've got everything you need to get ready for Packers-Bears in this playoff showdown on our website, channel3000.com, where you can always sign up for our Packers newsletter, which will deliver our coverage directly to your inbox every single day. And we will have full live coverage, both on channel3000.com and on News 3 Now leading into the game and of the game itself. For now, at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, I'm Jason Wilde.
Thanks, Jason. And News 3 Now's sports team, as he mentioned, will be bringing you coverage of the game this weekend right here on Channel 3. It all kicks off tomorrow at noon with reporter Nash Dara and sports director Andrew Banstra live in Chicago. They'll have coverage throughout our evening newscast along with the Jason Wilde. Coming up next in sports, the Winter Olympics are right around the corner. We'll speak with a Badger who's getting ready to make the trip to Milan.
And now, News 3 Now Sports, brought to you by TDS Telecom.
Believe it or not, the 2026 Winter Olympics are on the horizon. 4 members of the Wisconsin women's hockey team will compete for Team USA. Our Andrew Banstra caught up with Kirsten Sims ahead of her trip to Milan.
What does it mean to you to be an Olympian, and how incredibly exciting is this next, month and a half plus for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's an honor, and I'm super grateful for this opportunity. And like I said, something I've been dreaming of since I was a kid. So for it to actually be coming true now is still surreal, and I'm still pinching myself right now. But such a great opportunity, and I'm super grateful for getting this opportunity and this chance to play and go represent USA at that, and then get to do it alongside a couple of the other Badger girls that I'm playing with currently. But yeah, just overall, it's super surreal and special.
What was that moment like when you found out, and who did you first call?
Yeah, I mean, I was, like I said, in shock a little bit. I mean, you don't really know how you're going to act in that moment until it happens, and then it does happen, and you react in a shocking manner, and that's where I was. I was speechless. Literally, at a loss for words, and I still can't really put it into words. And then right after, I just remember kind of holding into my emotions as much as I could, calling my mom and my dad up right away, and I was sitting there, and the emotions start rolling, and you realize what actually just happened. And when you're telling your parents you're living out your dream that you've been telling them since you were 4 years old and started skating, it's a pretty special moment. And so I remember just a little bit of tears here and there, but happy tears, and my parents just telling me they're so proud of me, and that like my mom was freaking out, and it was awesome, and just I don't know, just overall like, super wholesome and special moment for me to get to tell them.
You and Layla have dreamed of this moment for a long time. What is that backstory with you two, and how cool is it you get to do it together?
Yeah, so we've known each other since we were like 9 or 10 years old, actually. We became best friends right off the jump. Like literally 2 seconds into meeting each other, it was we were sisters since then. When that happened, we knew we were going to college together, and we played high school together, and we just have kind of done all these things together, which has been awesome. So like I said, we've been talking about that, how cool it would be to be Olympians together and all this stuff, never thinking that if it would actually come true or not. And now that it is, that's what we were literally texting each other the other day, and we were like, wow, like this is our reality, and we're doing it together, which is everything we've ever wanted. And so I think it's just extra special to have somebody who's literally like a sister to me doing this journey with me as well.
Be sure to tune in tomorrow to the Wisconsin Huddle, where Kirsten joins Andrew on a show that you don't want to miss. And we'll be right back with a check of the final weather after this. Finally tonight, it is almost time for Animal Planet's annual Puppy Bowl. This is the sweetest thing. Team Ruff will be taking on Team Fluff. This year's canine sports event on Super Bowl Sunday will look a little different too. For the first time, there will be 15 pups with special needs, and a special exhibition game will spotlight senior dogs available for adoption. Team Oldies versus Team Goldies. I love these photos. Look at these eyes. Okay, so in all, I can't stop looking at the video. It's hard to read the story. It will highlight 150 dogs from more than 70 different shelters. For more information, you can visit puppybowl.com, and I'm guessing you can find a way to give back or to adopt. You've done it.
I've done it.
And
that's Loki.
It's hard not to do.
Yeah.
I would have a house full of them.
Yeah, Loki has quite the story, and he, and like Emma probably, will appreciate a little dry period for tomorrow.
Oh yeah, big time.
But the salt has probably been washed away by the area rain, and we still have rain out there right now. Radar 3000, especially for areas north and west of Madison, that will eventually turn into a little bit of wet snow. Join us tomorrow morning. Savannah will be tracking that snow, but we're not expecting big accumulations.
Good to know. Thank you, Alex. And thanks for watching News 3 Now at 10. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert is up next. Our next show is tomorrow morning. Be sure to tune in. Have a good night, everyone.